Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Before the Four. I'm your host, A.J. Wuest, super excited to talk about the WAFF's top stories today. It's some exciting stuff for you guys today, but first, you know what? I got to give a shout out to one of our own. His name starts with an N and ends with an E. He is our weekend anchor. And of course, I am talking about the one and only Mr. Nolan Crane. There's some exciting news today in the Crane family, and let's just go ahead and pull up some of this excitement. Look at this right here. There is a new Crane member in the Crane family, and his name is Carter Grayson Crane. He was born earlier today at 8 pounds and 11 ounces and 21 inches long. Such a cute little kid right there. But anyway, congratulations to the Crane family. That is super awesome. Now, with that said, let's dive into WAFF's top stories, shall we? I think we shall. So let's pull up the poster here. Right here, here are the top stories from the day. We are going to start at the top left corner right here. Mike Blakely, he was released from jail. Mike Blakely is the former Limestone County Sheriff. He was released from jail this morning after being paroled earlier in the month. Now we have some 48 footage that we were able to shoot earlier today, and let me pull that up for you all. Animal cruelty. Bear with me 1 second here. Here it is right here. Now, Blakely was convicted of felony theft and ethics charges following a weeks-long trial in August of 2021. That's him right there. He was only convicted of 2 of his 12 original charges, and he was sentenced to 3 years in jail that same year. Now, before the conviction, Blakely served as the sheriff for 38 years, and 48 News spoke to Blakely shortly after his release. He said he's doing well, and he is happy to be home. Now, another story for you all. Let's pull up this poster once again. We'll go down one. The former Decatur police chief passed away. This is a very sad story, but the Decatur community, they are mourning the death of a retired Decatur police chief, Mr. Ed Taylor, after he passed away at the age of 73. And that is him right there. Taylor started with the Decatur Police Department back in 1974. He quickly rose through the ranks and served in numerous roles with the Decatur Police Department. Taylor was officially sworn in as chief in 2011 and held that position for 5 years. Taylor retired after 41 years of service. He was a big community guy, very outgoing, very out in the community. Taylor was at the forefront of advocating for things like the Special Olympics and the law enforcement torch run. He was even selected as part of the 24-member U.S. delegation of officers who ran the torch for the Australian World Games and was inducted into the Alabama Torch Run Hall of Fame. Now, funeral arrangements have not been released at this time. But yes, with the next story we have here, we have Senator Tuberville. He is fighting for Space Command. And if you guys were watching last week, we talked to Senator Tuberville, and he definitely had quite a bit to say. And then one thing Tuberville was talking about last week was, of course, the situation to move Space Command over to Colorado Springs just after President Joe Biden came into office. Now, the senator claimed that it's not written in the laws that the Secretary of the Air Force picks the Space Command location. The Air Force, he says that the Air Force picks the location, not the president. And here's what the senator had to say about where he thinks the best place for Space Command should be from 48 reporter Sarah Grace Kennedy.
The Secretary of the U.S. Air Force did an evaluation all over the country for the best place to hold the Space Command Center. The Secretary of the U.S. Air Force under the Trump administration decided Huntsville was the best place for the Space Force. Tuberville says when President Biden came into office, he decided to do a reevaluation. After 10 evaluations, the Secretary of the Air Force said the Space Command should go to Huntsville. Tuberville says President Biden said, "No, I don't think we will do that. We are going to leave it in Colorado."
We're not going to give up now. If it was the right thing to do, if I felt deep in my heart that Colorado was the best place for Space Command, because I'm all in for our country and our military. If I thought that was the best place, I wouldn't be fighting for it. But I know that this place, Huntsville, Alabama, is the best place and safest. We need a secure area like Redstone Arsenal.
And that was Tuberville right there. You can see this full story. You can read it and watch the interview on our website at WAFF.com and see everything that Tuberville had to say. But this next story we have right here, there was an attempted murder in Colbert County earlier today. And that is the guy that is being charged with attempted murder. He is from Colbert County. He's in jail after authorities say he stabbed his brother during an argument. Now, deputies, they were called to Hidden Hollow Road yesterday just after 8 p.m. after a stabbing was reported. And after arriving on the scene, deputies found a man suffering from multiple stab wounds. He was then airlifted to Huntsville Hospital for treatment. Now, Sheriff Eric Ballantyne told our news partners at the Times Daily the victim had already been released from the hospital. Now, Christopher Dawson, that's him right there on the screen, he was arrested hours after the stabbing when deputies say he returned to the home where it happened. He was taken to the Colbert County Jail and charged with attempted murder, and he remains in jail without bond as he awaits his hearing. With this next story, there is a, well, let's just say they are here. The cicadas, they're starting to arrive, actually. I don't know if they're all quite here yet. Actually, I know for a fact they're not all quite here yet, but there are cicadas coming, and you already knew they were coming because 48's Claudia Peppenhorst did a story about them just a few months ago, but you know what? She's doing another one. It looks like they are beginning to emerge as two different broods of the insect are currently waking up in the country. One is on a 13-year cycle and the other on a 17-year cycle. Now, this is something that hasn't happened since 1803, and it's called the historic synchronized co-emergence. Now, 48's Claudia Peppenhorst, she spoke with Dr. Carrie Deans. She's an assistant professor in the biological sciences department at UAH, and Deans told 48 that they should make their grand arrival in North Alabama any day now. So you guys better prepare. But the emergence might just look a little bit different in Huntsville due to all the new developments here in the area. But this is what she had to say.
Insects have been underground for 13 to 17 years, and sort of what could have changed in terms of development and construction kind of disturbing the habitat over that amount of time. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see as many in this particular area. Probably as you get out of the city, the odds of seeing high numbers of cicadas are going to be larger.
Very cool. So you heard it there from Dr. Carrie Deans at UAH. If you want to see this full story, you can find it on WAFF.com. It's already published. But you guys better prepare for these cicadas. Next story we have here, the New Century High School was rated the second best in Alabama, and they threw a party today to celebrate. I do not blame them one bit for that because that is a pretty awesome event right there. Well-deserved celebration, and check this out, there was live music and everything, and you know, it looks like a good time to me. Now, the U.S. News and World Report ranks schools based on many factors like AP placement percentage and overall grade point average, and the school ranked number 2. Now, you can learn more about this story tonight in our evening shows, but super exciting stuff right there. We got some stories that you guys are not going to want to miss, but before I get into that, let's talk about let's talk about the other two stories that are here on the poster. A Colbert County man pled guilty to animal cruelty charges today. And also, you can't really see it there because our bug is covering it over. But 3 Morgan County men were arrested in connection to child sex trafficking. And that is what 48 reporter Matthew King will be covering just outside of the Madison County Sheriff's Office, and all about their efforts to really crack down on child sex trafficking situations like that. But those are 2 more stories that will be in the evening shows tonight. But the ones that you're really not going to want to miss, they are doing a story tonight about esports at the University of Northern Alabama and when to see a doctor for mental health reasons. It's important to know that. And also preventing AI attacks. And finally, there will be a scheduled water outage, and find out where in tonight's evening shows. Now, let's go over to sports. You know, it was a sad night for the Huntsville Havoc yesterday, but the Trash Pandas ended their series against the Tennessee Smokies in the win column. Hear more about what's happening here in the Huntsville sports world tonight from 48's Carl Prather. Now, you guys, if you are returning to the show, you all know the drill. We ask a question on Facebook, and you guys respond, and I pick 3 or 4 of my favorite responses and talk about them, and that is what we are doing now. So what was our question today, you might ask? It was right here. What is the best part of living in Alabama? There's a lot of good. There's definitely a lot of good. Let's see what people said. The environmental diversity, that's what Shannon Cox Robertson said. Right now she's sitting on the back porch looking at the woods. Alabama has forests, mountains, streams, rivers, lakes, and the beautiful Gulf Coast. People are friendly and the cost of living is low. For the people who have said there is nothing good here, you aren't looking. Thank you so much for that response, Shannon. I think I agree with you. I really love the environmental diversity here. It's super awesome to drive to work over the mountains. And I always mention the sunsets. Alabama has the prettiest sunsets in the entire country. It's just a very beautiful state. So Shannon, I agree with you 100%. If you're watching, thank you for commenting. Now let's pull up the next response. Let's see. There we go. Bill Elliott says Margot Gray on television. Well, you know what, Bill? You can find her tonight. She will be, as she always is, on the shows tonight. So yeah, major shout out to Margot Gray. She will be on television coming up in, honestly, 2 minutes, so stick around. Football, the only thing I can think of, says Deanna Young. You know what else is there? Like, football's the greatest sport ever. Like, I agree 100%, and that is definitely a plus. So thank you for that comment. And you know what? We're going to do one more comment just because I thought it was super funny. And it is right here. Very, very few Tennessee fans. That is hilarious. As someone who went to college up in Tennessee, I didn't go to University of Tennessee, but I went to school in that state. I think that is so hilarious. So thank you, Brian Manning. Hey, your last name's Manning? I think I know a Manning that might have went to UT, so that's interesting there. But thank you so much for that comment, Brian. I greatly appreciate that. Well, I'm just about out of time here, but I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Enjoy WAFF's evening shows and stay up to date with all the breaking stories that we'll have for you all. You can find them at WAFF.com or download our mobile app and turn on those push notifications. You get all the breaking news delivered straight to your phone. But I hope you all have a great night, and you all know the drill right about right here. Thank you for watching. With WAFF, I'm A.J. Wuest, and I am on your side.